Welcome everyone to our round table that this time is a little bit smaller for the Capricorn season. And we are talking about a very powerful month that is really preparing us for a very powerful year. And we are very excited about everything that is going on with an incredible month of rooting down, really, and going deep into what the solstice means for us. And it's this time of the year that the energies are very yin, and the Capricorn mysteries that the sun entering in this sign is really highlighting a time to be efficient with our energy. I think that's something that is so important and is going to be built up for the Venus, Mars, and the Sun meeting in January, but we can feel it already building as the Sun entered Capricorn, but then we also have Mars already in Capricorn. And Mars in Capricorn is in exaltation because it really can make things happen. And I always say with this energy that I live up in the mountain, and there are sometimes on Sundays guys that they don't have anything else to do on a Sunday than to go biking up the mountain. And you are like, I'm sure that if we do a survey with all these people, most of them they have Mars in Capricorn. And like seriously. And the other day I was having dinner with a friend of mine who is a biker, and he has Mars and the Sun in Capricorn. And he was saying that biking and cycling is like religions, it's like devotional suffering, but there is a pleasure there. And I think that's a very interesting Capricornian way of seeing like what is your mountain that you want to climb during this month. And we have to be very efficient with our energy in a sense. So is that is just like a first intake of the energies that can be available for us with the solstice.
I love that. I have Mars in Capricorn.
So you are a biker.
I'm not in that way, but I do so appreciate hard work that for me is meaningful. I mean, that's where it has to be. It has to be meaningful. Like I'm someone who I can, you know me, I mean, I'm a hard worker. I also have Saturn in Capricorn. So you put Mars and Saturn in Capricorn, that is like by nature a hard worker. But when it's for something that feels meaningful and purposeful for me, I can like stay up all night for weeks working on something. I can be exhausted, but like I feel so like energized and for fulfilled, like the satisfaction feels so good to me. And I just feel like I'm sharing that because I feel like there's many different expressions of the Capricorn mysteries, but being connected to like meaningful and purposeful devotion and commitment, I feel like is such a fulfilling expression of the Capricornian mysteries. So I think this ingress chart is really, really interesting. And just before I even share on that, as Mara and I were sharing before, I was just like, oh, right before we start recording, I'm like, let me just pull a tarot card and get kind of an archetypal theme for us, some guidance for navigating Capricorn season. And I pulled the Star card. I love this card. This is really the Aquarian, the Aquarius card in the tarot deck, opening up and receiving the wisdom of the stars. It's like the water bearer energy. We have the seven stars, which can correspond to like the seven sisters of the Pleiades, the seven chakras. There's so many, the seven rays of the rainbow. Like there's so many different ways we could work with that energy. But you see here in this card, one foot on land and one foot connected to the water and the stars above. So this is our reminder. The star card comes up often as an indicator of uh, inspiration, receiving the inspiration from the stars. It's a card of renewal and hope and faith and healing. And so it just feels like this really beautiful message that to like keep that faith, keep that hope because there is this, especially I feel like it feels like this building to the Saturn Neptune conjunction at zero Aries to me for 2026 that I just feel like is like it's like we're being asked to be the vessel, the physical vessel to give form and structure and be a container to receive that higher wisdom, that higher vision, that higher inspiration. But it's just this reminder that we're guided by the stars. There is essentially we are the star oracle, and we can always look out and receive the look out to and look within, really to look up at the stars to receive that wisdom to guide us. And so I love that card, and we'll start getting some Aquarian energy throughout Capricorn season as well. But I find the Capricorn ingress chart really, really interesting. So the moment the sun goes to zero Capricorn is the ingress, whatever is happening with all the astrology at that time. That's the ingress chart for Capricorn season. So it gives us a glimpse at all of Capricorn season, but this is the solstice. So for us in the northern hemisphere, the winter solstice and those in the southern hemisphere, the summer solstice. And if we're looking at more of like just the astrological wheel of the year, like it's kind of considered the winter solstice. So I want to like honor both hemispheres, but I'm going to speak to it as the winter solstice because that's my experience here on this earth. And this metaphorically represents the seeding for the new astrological year. You know, some astrologers say the Capricorn solstice is a new astrological the astrological new year. Other astrologers say the Aries solstice is the astrological new year. It doesn't really matter to me where you're putting it, but to me this represents the seeding. This represents the composting. What are we releasing? What are we giving away? What do we no longer want to carry with us that we can release to the soil to make really fertile soil as we're planting a seed below that can then like burst forth out of the earth with the Aries equinox. And so, just something I think can be really powerful is to just reflect on the year you've had. Like, what is it that you're wanting to give away? And it could be powerful to write it down and maybe burn it, like do a fire offering to purify it. And then also doing some visioning around what is it that you're wanting to grow and nurture as we're moving into 2026. It's such a powerful ceremonial time. You know, in our kind of Western culture, there's so much with our kind of modern way that we tend to celebrate the holidays and Christmas, where we're out and about, and there's so much push with consumerism and this party and this event and that event that kind of can feel us very scattered. It's beautiful reminder, as you mentioned, Mar, the yin energy, to remember to slow down and to rest. And Capricorn says, you spoke about it, efficiency. Like Capricorn is like really wants to focus our attention on what truly matters because we don't have infinite energy to give to everything. And so Capricorn says, are you really spending your time on what truly matters? Like there's a wisdom around how am I utilizing my time and energy? So to be mindful of that. In the Ingress chart, Venus is at 26 degrees of Sagittarius, conjunct Juno at 27 degrees Sagittarius. So this is in the galactic center. And as we're going into the Capricorn solstice, you know, just a few days before, we had that galactic center, a wildly out of bounds galactic center, new moon. I think the new moon, right? 28 Sagittarius. We're filming, or actually filming this the day of the new moon. So we have all this kind of galactic center ripple. When something, a planet is aligning with the galactic center, it's like we're receiving the light codes, the star codes emitting from the center of the Milky Way galaxy. As that black hole is pulling everything in around it, there's an immense amount of light shooting back out. And so when a planet goes across the galactic center, we just have this like direct access to I mean, it's kind of like the water bearer card or the star card, right? We have direct access to receiving the star codes, receiving the light codes from the center of the Milky Way galaxy. So Venus there, our heart essence, our feminine energy. I mean, she's connected to so many different things, values, resources. I mean, she represents relationships. There's so many different issues, so many different things she represents. But I think of her as essentially the heart and the heart mysteries, like right there, connected to all of that cosmic galactic wisdom. And she's there with Juno, Venus and Juno together. This is like a karmic resetting of relationships. So there's something about like, and also when planets go across the galactic center, there's this like resetting energy, like a reset. So there's something about, I feel this is actually a big theme for 2026. And I think it has to do with this Capricorn solstice, this kind of resetting of relationships and commitments and kind of karmic resetting. Like we might really find like old relationships of all kinds that are no longer resonating where you are on your path and what you're wanting to create in your life and in this world really starting to fall away. You might have had that a lot happening this year already, but I feel like especially as we go into next year, we have this very powerful Venus, Mars, Sun conjunction in Capricorn. I feel like it has to do with that, but also the Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries. That's like activating the relationship axis, Aries, Libra. It's like those relationships that are not in alignment with like what we most want to create here on this earth, they're going to fall away. And the relationships that can support us, like those Aquarian, right? Like tribe, soul family that are also in alignment with what we're wanting to create are going to start coming together more. So that's really this really powerful. It's like this really big, powerful, like galactic resetting of relationships. Hygeia is at 0 degrees of Cancer retrograde. At the moment, the sun comes to 0 Capricorn. So these are both on the world axis at the moment of the solstice. And it feels very powerful that this Hygeia retrograde, the healing goddess at 0 Cancer, we just have this invitation to really explore like where have we been depleting our energy and not nurturing and caring for ourselves and what we need to fill up our cup so we can be most of service to the world in the way that matters for us. So there's this really powerful invitation to contemplate on where is my energy depleted? Where am I giving my energy to things that really like aren't in most alignment to me because Capricorn Saturnian energy is about alignment and to kind of re-nurture and nourish ourselves so we are the most filled up, right, with like the light of spirit as we can as we're going into 2026. So there's more things I could say about the Capricorn ingress chart, but I'll just like stop here because I've been talking for a while.
I love everything you shared, and I feel it is so resonance with everything that I'm also um, intuitively connecting. It's like we are preparing for a whole new life in a way. And I love that you mentioned like where is the year really starting? And how I always feel it is that now we are planting the seeds, as you were saying, for what is going to bloom in the spring. So that is that the visible new year, like you see the like if it's snowing now, it will water the earth for the spring. So like there is a saying in Spain that the years with the snow is a good year for like resources. It rhymes in Spanish, but the thing is that when you have like water now or cold weather, but this good snow or this good cold weather that doesn't seem that cozy, but at the same time is necessary for the earth to re-nurture, to restructure, to re-fertilize itself. And in the ingress, I love what you were mentioning with all these planets. And we also have Mars going through the galactic center and Mercury. And then in the ingress chart, we have the moon in Capricorn as well. and then we will have a full moon, Cancer, Capricorn. So it's like, how can we create structures that really allow life to flourish? I think that's very important. And the whole system that we have built as humanity is not really a Capricornian healthy system. Capricornian healthy system allows emotions to be held. It's creating a safe container for people. That is, Capricorn is really able, and the moon in Capricorn during the ingress is that energy of holding difficult emotions. Is not only saying to the person, I love you, is showing with the energetic holding, you're fine, you're safe because I'm holding you. So it's like it doesn't matter if you're having a hard time, I still love you when you are not in your greatest moment. And that solidity of the Capricornian mystery school is what is required from us. That radical honesty of what is not in alignment with your energy anymore. Maybe it was great for a while. So can you celebrate the completion? Because we are in a time period where we are really completing a lot of things. And as you were saying, like karmic cycle, this is like seriously lifetimes of memory as well. One of the things that sometimes is not so mentioned about Capricorn, and this relates with the ingress, the full moon, the meeting of Venus, Mars, and the Sun in early January, everything is talking about the whole month, is that there is in karma, is not only the bad things that we remember, it's also talents that we have from previous lives, and they just need to be remembered. I think one of the words that is more Capricornian is to remember. It's not about learning anything new, it's about remembering what you already know in your bones and your body structure. And there is a lot about the feminine mysteries that was lost with patriarchy. And most of the spiritual schools are very masculine. They are like the transcendence of the body into spirit. And that's amazing. But there is another pathway that is spirit into matter. And there is no more Capricornian mystery that spirit into matter in a very structural, practical way. And sometimes for Capricorn, what it needs to learn is that less is more. And this is something that is being a whole life lesson for me as well as a Capricorn moon. It's like, it's not about doing more, it's about being the one who is seeing the whole structure of the dream. So we can have amazing dreams, but we need Capricornian people to make them happen. We need Saturn to make the dream a reality. And that is also what we are going to experience with Saturn and Neptune in 2026 in February. So now is we are preparing. Are we having a rich soil that is allowing life to flourish with the spring? And the invitation, as you were saying, is like there is a lot of compost and there is a lot of saying goodbye to things, to relationships, to dynamics. Sometimes maybe even the person can stay in our life, but the way we are relating to them is different. So I will really encourage everyone to be very honest and to do a ritual of like what is draining your energy and how can you honor your life force energy more than anything because it's the most precious thing you have, your life force energy. The more life force energy that you have with your prices, if you're selling something, with your work, in your relationship, are you doing a lot of invisible labor around your house? Like instead of asking others to help you, to like you're doing everything for everyone, and then at the end of the day, you're like fully exhausted. That is not healthy Capricorn. Healthy Capricorn is the one who is saying, okay, we have a structure here. Maybe it's a family, a foundation, Maybe it's a business, maybe it's a school, maybe it's a community, whatever structure of people that are meeting together, are creating something as a tribe and a community. The Capricornian people are the ones who are seeing what is the value of everyone in the tribe. Like they can see the talents in others, and they can see also the talent in the common project. It's like, where is this leading us? And what is necessary? What are the difficult decisions sometimes that we need to make for this to grow? If we have a tree, bonsai, like bonsai is a small tree, right? But we need to cut things that are not working in order to have it grow. If we have a huge tree, we sometimes also need to be patient with how long it's going to take us for that tree to grow and to bring fruits. So I think all of these reflections is very interesting. And something that I always do with the solstice is like house by house, reflect on my chart, and then like the first house, myself, the second, my money, the third, what I have learned, the celebrations and the things that I'm grateful, and then what I'm seeding for next year in that area of my life. What is my desires? And it's very nice to check on that with the equinox and solstices. So it's kind of like, but normally the whole overview I do it in the winter solstice. Is that okay? This area maybe has been more challenging, but what is my vision for next year? But I'm still celebrating even the challenge. And I feel that's something that is also very Capricornian in that sense. It's like that celebration of life as it is in winter, when the flowers are not bloomed yet, but we know it's coming. We still keep faith, and that is the interesting path of like uh, planets from Sagittarius, that is that hope into how do we bring the huge ideas of Sagittarius into matter. And that is the invitation. If we have big dreams, we need deep roots, and we need to say no to things with a heart. Like it's okay. It's not that this idea is not amazing. It's just maybe it's not for me to grow. So, what are the dreams that we want to grow into 2026? I think that will be a very interesting meditation.
Oh, I love that. I love to have big dreams. We really need to have deep roots. It's so, so true. And what I kept on thinking of as you were sharing is, like for Capricorn season, the Capricornian Saturnian energy is about being skilled at saying no when we mean no. And every time we're saying no to something that's not in alignment, we're actually saying yes to something that is in alignment. And when I think of the Capricorn energy as like one of the high expressions, the grandmother energy, the wise elder energy, it is like being the responsible one that often, like, I mean, even in my parenting journey, a lot of like you say no to a lot of things because I love my child. If I just said yes, 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 yes to everything my toddler wanted, that it would actually be a lot of that would not be healthy. And so having the one that has the more expanded perspective of like, you have to say no quite often, and it's from a loving place within. And that is kind of the Capricornian energy is like, when do I need to say no? Saying no to what's not in alignment. So I'm actually saying on an energetic level, yes to what is an alignment for me. I just want to bring this one little part about the ingress chart. At the time of the sun ingresses to 00 Capricorn, the moon is at 17 degrees of Capricorn with Vesta at 18 degrees of Capricorn. So there's something so much about getting grounded and what is our sacred devotion? what is our sacred commitment? I mean, Vesta is the energy of sacred devotion, sacred commitment, really stoking the flame of the sacred flame of our heart, keeping the sacred flame of our heart lit. And it really requires kind of this like pristine clarity on like what is our devotion, what is our commitment, and saying no to everything else so we can say yes to what is our sacred devotion and commitment. And I feel this year ahead, because I do feel this chart kind of gives us a glimpse at really kind of the a year ahead energy. There's something about being so unwavering in what we're truly committed to and what we are devoted to. Like it's really, it feels like some cosmic initiation of like, are you really committed? Are you really, really devoted? Because the energy of 2026, it's not necessarily that it's going to be like just easy peasy, a walk in the park. It's not, because we are in a time of such accelerated evolution on a personal and collective level that I mean, it's like, it feels like what we are experiencing, like right now, it feels like maybe in a week or a month, we're like going through the karmic evolution of like maybe previously like lifetimes. Like it is so accelerated and so sped up because we are living in such incredible times, like the winter solstice being on the galactic cross. I mean, this is a big period of time, but like the fact that we're alive during it is pretty incredible. And so, with that Saturn Neptune conjunction that we have at 0 degrees of Aries in 2026, it's one of the biggest transits of 2026, that we have an invitation when we're truly in alignment. It really feels like there's an invitation that we can actually really start to get traction, Saturn, on giving something, making a higher vision, dream, inspiration, Neptune concrete, tangible, manifest, which is Saturn. It doesn't mean it's going to happen that day of the conjunction, February 20th. That conjunction is rippling a new cycle. But what it means is we can actually start to get grounded traction on a new beginning, a new pathway that is related to a higher vision dream or inspiration that maybe we felt like, gosh, I feel like this is my calling. I feel like this is my path. I feel like this is my sacred medicine. I've been trying to bring it through. I've been like working so hard and it just feels like the grounding, the traction wasn't there, the foundation wasn't there, like the doorways. I'm like knocking on that door and the doorway is not opening. Like I really feel this year the energies can start to align to actually bring us to that pathway where we are living our sacred mission. I mean, this is Aries, fulfilling our sacred purpose and doing what we came here to do in this time. And a lot of the theme of 2026, I feel there's so much Aries energy. Aries is about new pathways, initiation, and it's about gut instinct. It's really taking action when the moment's right and not taking action when the moment's not right. That's like a big Aries initiation. That's hard for Aries because it's like I'm an Aries sun. It's like I'm excited. I want to take action. I want to take action. But like true gut instinct is very efficient. It's like I'm taking action when the moment's right, and I'm not wavering. I'm not hesitating. I'm doing it. I'm taking that action. The Aries initiations are about I take action when the moment's right, and I figure out the rest later. So we are really being called to take action when that moment is right. And our head is not going to get us there. I mean, Aries does rule the head, but it's not going to be about like the thinking mind. It's going to be about being really in our bodies, like grounded and in our bodies. Even like doing things around like working on our microbiomes can be helpful, but a lot of it too is a regulated nervous system because it really takes having a regulated nervous system to like notice that moment when it's right. And I'm someone who I've done, I've had so much anxiety throughout my life that I'm always working on nervous system regulation. So it doesn't have to be like no one's going to have a regulated nervous system all the time in the current world that we're living in, but it's about being able to come back, have those practices, having those things to co-regulate with that can come back and bring us into a regulated nervous system state. But I just feel this is such a theme about having Aries. It's going to give us like having the courage, the boldness to take that action when the moment is right and not wavering, not hesitating. That, and this is actually, I feel like a theme too. The Capricorn energy, it's about patience. It's about prepping. It's really like that can be a hard energy for a lot of us because we live in such a convenience culture where everything's kind of instant, 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 that true Capricornian cultivation of patience with like the patience, the like the slow write the mountain goat, just one step at a time, staying devoted and persevering with something one step at a time. Like that's the Capricornian mysteries. It's like truly when we do the slow work to build those foundations, that sets the energy for then things can happen really quick. That's Aries. It's like when we're really doing the foundational work, that things can actually that sets the stage where things can move really, really quick and we can have grounded, lasting change that actually happens very quick. So right now we're being asked to slow down, to conserve our energy, to be really efficient with our energy, and to use our time really, really wisely. So, this is, I feel like this is an intuitive message. Like, what's a practical thing that maybe you've not had time to deal with this year? Because this last year has been pretty like intense. It's been wild. It's been intense. It's been really brutal for a lot of people, myself included. And there's also, I mean, we've been in this liminal space of endings and beginnings and the space in between. And so many people, it's like forward movement here, but like moving backwards here. It's been so much. So, what is a practical life thing that you've let go on the back burner while we've dealt with 2025? Come back to it and deal with that practical thing, give some loving attention to it. And that feels really important for going into 2026. Yeah, I think I'll pause here.
Yes, 100%. I totally agree with that because like 2026 feels like a whole hurricane, kind of like a change of energy, so strong because it's like all the transpersonal planets are going to be changing from water and earth, so things that seems unmovable, like they are there, and if you feel stuck for like a long time, 2026 is the year you unstuck yourself. But maybe like sometimes we always say we want change, but when change is really on the door calling to us, it's kind of like, not yet, not yet. So 2026, there are so many opportunities for rapid change in areas that we maybe felt it was impossible to move that obstacle that we have had forever. Like we really will have the energy, the mental energy, the fire to make it happen, but we need, as you were saying, foundations. And this is the month, and the full moon also talk about that. Like we have the full moon January the 3rd, at least here in Europe. I never, like, maybe it's a little bit earlier in the States, but here in Europe is January the 3rd, and is already building up that conjunction of the sun in the middle between Venus. I think it's in the middle. Yes, the sun is in the middle between Venus and Mars. We also have Mercury in Capricorn during the full moon, and then the moon is in Cancer. So it's kind of like, how can you hold your emotions? And I think this one is also very important, not judging ourselves when we feel angry or anxious or sad. Is human. Like you can be a very spiritual, divine person, as we all are, but you're also human. And your human self feels anger and feels disappointed and frustration. And it's amazing to have feelings. So it's very important also to create structures in our lives where we hold a space for our emotions without judgment. And for me, breath work is the practice that has been very helpful. As a Capricorn moon, sometimes I need like hardcore things to move the emotions, because if not, it's kind of like, I can hold it, I can hold it. And it's kind of like, no, don't hold too much. It's like you can do it when it's necessary, and sometimes it's a great skill to be able to do that. But sometimes we also just need to allow the emotions to run through the system, because they all bring wisdom. If we feel angry about something, means that we care about something. So it's like, what do you really care about? And that is going to be very activated in 2026. There will be a lot of anger in the collective with 7 planets in April in Aries. So it's kind of like, it's a lot. And Saturn and frustration. So it's not about not feeling frustrated or angry, because there are so many things in the humanity we have built that they need change. And we are the hands of the change. The change is not coming only, and this is a very Capricornian thing to say, but the change is not just coming because you are praying to the divine and hoping that Atlas 3A Atlas will save us all from. No. It's like, yes, open yourself to the divine, to the cosmic wisdom, anchor that, and then do the work. I think that part is very important, and sometimes is not fully embraced. It's like you receive, this is a very shamanic initiation. Like the shamans were the ones who were more initiated than anybody else, because they needed to hold difficult energies. And also, they receive the guidance from the spirit, but then they bring it back to the community and they do the work. That part is very important. It's like, if you want to build a whole retreat for healing, for art, for creativity, there will be a lot of paperwork. There will be a lot of people that you need to call on. There will be no's that people will also reject you, and they will say, no, that idea is not for me. And that's fine. It's like you keep going. I think that stamina and that um, resilience of Capricorn, of like when it's meaningful, when you know it's connected with the star card, like that is what you came here to bring from the stars into the earth. Like that is the spirit into matter for you. And for each one of us is going to be a different task. Like we are not all meant to bring the same. And I feel that honoring of our sacred masculine and sacred feminine as well. So sometimes I feel with that, it's so interesting that the 2 planets that really help us get things done, Saturn and Mars, are the malefics. That they are seen as malefic forces that are messing up with the system as it is. What we need to change the system is Mars and Saturn. And it's very important that we take action to make those insights more than insight, a 3D reality. And we will need to create something like the Capricorn Mystery School at the end of the day is to bring a legacy for the 7 generations to come, knowing the wisdom of everything that we have experienced so far. And it's not even what I have experienced in my own blood and body, is what my ancestors have experienced, what the land has experienced, is to really listen to what it works for the community that I want to create, for anything that I want to create. And for that is understanding that we are the hands. If we want change, we need to be the hands that make the change happen. For one person can be to pray, but for many people, like in my case, it's not just praying. And I'm not saying that it's less important. I'm just saying that cardinal energy, Aries, Capricorn, Libra, Cancer, and the full moon is in Cancer, Capricorn, is not only about praying. They are the holders of the culture. They are the ones who really make changes happen. So it's like If you want change in the health system, be part of that. If you want change in the law system, because the systems are very Capricornian, and our feminine and our masculine, Venus and Mars, are meeting at the beginning of January. And it's very important that that feminine, that is the chaos of creation, the womb of creation, the masculine listens to the feminine. And this is something that intuitively I always felt, is that Mars needs to listen to Venus to know what is her desire, our inner desires, our life force energy, our heart. And then it's like protecting her and saying, do you desire this? I'm going to make it happen for you. And and we all have that energy within us. We don't need to wait for a savior outside of us. Our beginning of January is really stand on our Mars. And in my case, that meeting is happening in my fourth house. And what I keep feeling is like I desire a house for a long time. And is my Mars is going to make it build. Like I'm going to create a house for my Venus. And it's kind of like, I don't know how, but I'm going to commit to really make it happen with all the resources that is necessary to buy a house for my Venus. So what is the commitment in your case, like which area of your chart you have 18 degrees from 13, the full moon, 13 degrees Capricorn to 18 is going to be activated during January, and until even the new moon in Capricorn at the end of January. So it's kind of like during all this time, which area of your life your masculine needs to commit to the feminine to say, okay, this is what you desire. I'm going to make it happen for you. And that is amazing. It's like we need more male energy with that. I'm going to make it happen for you. And without shame about desiring something. It doesn't have to be only contributing to others. In my case, it's a house for me and my parents, because the more rooted that I am in that, the more that I will give to others. But I need to nourish myself first. And that is something so Cancer Capricornian that is very important. If we are giving away our energy, we need to have much more energy also coming back, because if not, there is a moment that is not sustainable anymore, and then we get resentment, and that is a very Cancer thing as well, like giving in order to receive. So here is ourselves giving back to ourselves, so then we feel nourished and we give back from a space of I have so much that I cannot do any other thing that to give back to the community.
Wow, so powerful. I'm resonating with so much of this. And speaking about that Cancer full moon on January 3rd, which really is that it's like that's when we're really going to start the feeling the Venus Sun, Venus Mars, Mars Sun. We have like all these like cycles converging with Venus, Mars, and Sun together. The Cancer full moon is at 13 Cancer. So that is conjunct Sirius. So a very powerful, um, a very, very powerful cosmic invitation to really receive in the light of the stars and to be our own oracle. The moon is trying the North Node. At that time, the North Node will be at 10 degrees of Pisces. So it feels like that moon, full moon is really going to illuminate something for us about a pathway forward, a direction, something we can nourish and grow. And the year ahead, I mean, the sky viewing for that full moon, if you have clear skies, is going to be pretty epic because you're going to see the full moon. Now, the full moon's out of bounds very north. Sirius is a very southern star declination. So, the moon from the northern hemisphere perspective, the moon is going to be like way above where Sirius is, but you're going to see them. And then you're going to see Jupiter. there as well, who's very, very bright because Jupiter is opposite the sun at that time. So it's like Jupiter's brightest time of year. So even though the moon and Jupiter aren't necessarily by zodiac degree, like super, super close, the moon is at 13, Jupiter's at 21 degrees of Cancer at that point. Like if you're actually viewing the sky, it's going to be epic. You're going to feel like, I mean, I feel like just thinking about what is the actual experience of seeing the sky, the moon, the Jupiterian energy, Sirius. This is such a powerful, I mean, it kind of feels like that star card again, to receive the wisdom of the stars to light the pathway forward. Ah, that feels really, really powerful. And then the dates, let me just kind of pull up some of I had them all written down and now I cannot remember. But first we have Venus conjunct Sun a few days after that new moon. Venus conjunct Sun, January 6th. Venus and Sun meet at 16 degrees of Capricorn. And then we have the next like day, January 7th, we have Venus conjunct Mars at 18 degrees of Capricorn. And then the very next day, of course, I'm speaking about Pacific time zone here. We have Sun conjunct Mars, January 9th. So like 2 days later, Sun conjunct Mars at 19. So 16, 18, 19 degrees, Venus, Sun, Venus, Mars, Mars, Sun. Venus and Mars are in their underworld journey, meaning the metaphorical underworld journey, meaning they're traveling on the far side of the sun. So it's like Earth, Sun, and then Venus and Mars there. It's this really powerful rebirthing of our feminine and masculine energy, the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine being sourced in the energy of the sun. It to me, like my own interpretation of this is it really feels like we have an invitation to rebirth, like to alchemize. It's like the sacred yonia and the Heros Gamos around how we are working with our feminine and masculine energy to have the shift from, we've lived in this, the way the Capricornian energy has come out in our modern world, modern Western world has not been the true essence of Capricorn, right? We're in that process of rebirthing a new paradigm. And so there's this invitation, I feel, to rebirth into more of the true essence of the Capricornian energy of how we're relating with our feminine and masculine energy. And Mar, like you spoke to that energy so, so beautiful. In Capricorn, it is about building something that's meaningful, building something that's purposeful, giving something solid roots, a strong foundation, coming into alignment. Alignment is so much about the Capricornian energy. It's like, is the foundation in alignment? Is there structural integrity, right? Like Capricorn is about integrity in all senses, but like literal, the physical, like when a building has structural integrity, it it's it's safe. It's a safe container. It will last. It can lead a legacy, right? So we are having this invitation to rebirth and to really, number one, our inner feminine and masculine energy, how to create in a way that's more in alignment for us. It's a really, really powerful, it's a really powerful energy. I feel that starting at the beginning of January, it's like we have that full moon and then boom, 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 this really powerful Venus, Mars, Sun conjunction all together where they have not met in that same area, Capricorn, for 32 years. Last time was 1994. And also an interesting kind of synchronicity. I feel Venus, when she started her Capricorn cycle, in January, I think it was January 2022 is when she started Capricorn cycle. It was at like right in that area of the zodiac. It was like at 18 Capricorn, 16 Capricorn, something like that. So there might be something that we wanted to kind of birth or maybe began to birth in that Capricorn cycle, January 2022 to August 2023, there might be some kind of like a thread coming back and like the next iteration of that. Or if it didn't quite come to fruition, this might be the chance to bring it to fruition.
Yes, 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 100%. And I was born with Venus and Mars in the underworld in a very similar configuration. I can totally say that everything that you are sharing is part of my own life journey. Is like also dying to the old ways of how the masculine and the feminine relate, both inner and outer. So it's both. It's about our inner masculine or inner feminine within us, so we can have um, sacred marriage. And I even have a painting up there that is my masculine and my feminine, and a tree. It doesn't show that much because it's up, but it was within a ceremony of like marrying our Mars and our Venus. So, but when it's in the underworld, it's like you need to be burned. Your whole identity, or what society is telling you that is masculine and feminine, is not satisfying for a person who has them in the underworld. It's like you need to be burned, initiated, in order to fully embrace first your inner masculine and feminine within yourself, and then finding people in your life who have a healthy masculine and feminine, and they have been initiating themselves in sacred relationships. And there is a lot of sexual energy here as well. Capricorn has a lot of, it is not something that is set, but it's kind of like it's very strong life force energy in Capricorn, and stamina, and like a very resilient energy of like when they are on fire or on earth, like when they are in purpose, when they are in alignment, they're truly unstoppable. And this is the moment, and I love that you also mention it, is the time to be fully in. It's not one feet out, I will just try this, let's see if it works. Not. It's like, what are you committing to in January 2026? And you have that window, all the dates that Jamie was sharing, and also until the new moon, January 18th. So it's like, because that new moon is at the end of Capricorn, 28 degrees, is kind of like saying, it's so interesting, from the solstice to the new moon, there is always this time of like, we are starting something, and with the new moon is like, okay, now go a little bit. And normally it's a few days. In this case, it's almost the whole month, because we have the solstice in zero degrees Capricorn, but then we don't have the new moon until 28 degrees Capricorn. So that means that the whole solar month is kind of like preparing us for that new moon, that moment of commitment, fully in. It's like, this is what my whole body desires, and that is what I'm going to build. And for each person, it's going to be something different. So it's like, what do you want to build in your life? And how can you be always rooted no matter what 2026 brings to you? It's like, that is also a very Capricornian thing. Is how can you be fully solid within yourself, even sometimes when you are in the eye of the hurricane, and you feel it in people who are really masters of their life force energy, like martial artists, qigong people who have been practicing for like 30 years, Tai Chi, any kind of mastery, that you just feel this rooted presence coming into a room, and they are like, poof, their energy is not just here, and is rooted into the ground, and you just feel like something very solid just came by. I feel that every human being has that potential to be a solid tree. So it's like, whatever happens in your life, you know always, I'm fine. Like, you deeply know that whatever life brings you, you trust yourself, you trust life, and you trust nature, that is going to always have your back. And it's not just wishful thinking, it's solid, rooted life force energy that is knowing wherever I need to be initiated. And that is the shaman. This is why, like, people who are in very leadership roles, and Capricorn is our leader, and the area where we have Capricorn, we are meant to be leaders and building something. They are leaders because they have been initiated. And that is what we need more and more in the world, leaders who are initiated into their own purpose, their own life force energy. And I feel that's something that is going to come a lot in 2026. Every country is choosing leaders who are not Capricornian healthy leaders for the world. And we need to change the structures everywhere. It's not a problem in the States. It's like, I'm sorry, like everyone from the States is like kind of thinking that is the only country that is in trouble. It's like every single country in the world is having a leadership crisis. And I lived for a long time in three of them. And it's like, it's not a problem from one country. It's a problem for humanity. It's like we are choosing people who are totally psychopath. And it's the moment that we take that responsibility of making different decisions from our own leadership. And the more we do it in our own life, the more the ones that are meant to guide us in the politics system, in the healthcare, like all the systems that we need, they will take that role. So it's very important that we take that responsibility in whatever area we have. And I feel that is the window, like from the beginning, like from the full moon on the 3rd to the new moon on the 18th, we have that window of what do you want to commit to and do it and be fully there.
Oh, I love this. And I feel that commitment is such a big
Yes.
theme. And even with Saturn going into Aries, I felt like because Aries is like Saturn going into Aries is like put your action where your mouth is,
Yes,
essentially.
yes, yes,
It's
yes.
like Saturn is saying, like, are you really going to step up and commit to what is on your heart? I mean, Aries initiates new cycles, it begins, it takes action, it is assertive. And so Saturn, the integrity principle coming into Aries, where it will be for about 2.5 years, starting February of or whenever it's, I think it's going back into Aries in February of this year. Saturn and Saturn's really saying integrity is when Saturn is in Aries, integrity is aligned to action. It's not just the philosophical. It's not just that we've had all this Pisces. I got a lot of Pisces, just like I have a lot of Aries. It's not just that, just in the dreaming, that state. It is the visioning. It is like integrity becomes action. It becomes one with action with Saturn and Aries. And so there really is, it's like, are you going to commit to your life? Are you going to commit to taking grounded action, grounded, practical, assertive action? And Saturn is about that commitment. It's like we stay at it. Aries sometimes as an archetypal nature is like, I can be that way. It's like, I'm excited. I'm like starting to take action. And then like, oh, okay, I'm gonna switch to something else. Or like sometimes when things get hard, it's like, or we get bored, Aries is like, okay, let me like go off on a new thing. Saturn is like, come back to it. What really truly matters to you, keep on coming back, stay the course. Now, if from an energetic perspective, Aries can go 0 to 60 like that. It is a sign energetically that can, it goes all in, it's got a lot of energy, and then it can deplete its energy very quickly. But Aries can regenerate its energy very quickly too. So to coming back, resting, regenerated, but then stay the course. That feels really important with that Saturn and Aries energy. It's really going to support us with that. And just to bring in there, a lot of what you were speaking about commitment was making me think of, Uranus has already went into Gemini for a little bit in 2025. It's back in Taurus now, and then it's going to go back into Gemini April of 2026 and, stay there for like 6, 7 years, something like that. When Uranus goes back into Gemini again, we've already seen it and we've already experienced it, but I think it's like the level we're going to experience it is going to be like maybe something we can't even perceive at this point. The level of information coming in is going to be so, so fast with all the AI stuff. Things becoming like what we see coming through like the news, internet, like whatever social media, like it really like it's gonna be a whole new level of very hard to discern what's real and not real. I think even sometimes like we can't even perceive how challenging that's gonna be because as AI is getting so much more advanced, on some level, it really doesn't matter when something goes viral through the collective like that. It doesn't really matter if it's real or not real. It takes on a life of its own, and people react and respond to it. So all of that to say, when you were talking about like the martial artists who are very like, they're grounded, they're in their energy, they're not so like you can see it with people like that. They're not tossed around by like incoming energy, like those of us that are maybe a little more ungrounded or not just so like solid in our being. The more we can get rooted and solid in our being, the less we're going to be tossed around on that like lightning speed information that's going to be swirling, that's going to be grabbing for people's attention, for their emotional reactions, wanting people to react from their emotional reactions. So that just feels like so important to remember to be solid and rooted and grounded and have the discernment on what information to take in and what information to not take in. There is a concept called like an egregor, which is when a bunch of people give energy to something, it has its life. It has a life of its own. Like if you've ever seen the mob mentality, right? Like people get together, that mob mentality happens, and people act in ways they would never act on their own if they were just like a standalone person, not in that group energy. Like that's like what an egregor is. And we're going to see things, energies taking on lives of their own through like what's going viral. I think we're going to see that on a whole new level. So the more we can just have discernment, like notice what you're giving your attention to, what's grabbing your emotional energy, and like sometimes just noticing and how to have those really solid boundaries. That feels really, really important because ultimately, the more we're being pulled energetically from all that fast moving information coming in, the less energy we have to create what we're wanting to create that has real grounded, like tangible, lasting change and makes a difference in the world. So just being able to come back to that root, that intention again and again feels so important for 2026.
Yes, 100%. I totally feel into that as well. And when it's embodied, we know what is true and what is not. Like
Mhm.
if we are fully embodied, it's like it doesn't matter. There is no liar who can lie to us if we are fully embodied. We will be a detector of liars. It's like it's our womb. And for women, it's like if you're fully in your rooted power and your womb, it's like you just ask her, it's like, is this my pathway? And it's like, no. Oh, yes. It's like, should I marry this man? And it's like, no, don't. And then sometimes our mind, sometimes it's just telling stories. But when we're fully in the body is telling us. And normally, sometimes we even get sick because we are making decisions that are out of alignment of what our body truly knows. And we were mentioning a lot that Aries initiation in 2026 is instinct, is primal, is the animal body doesn't lie. And that's very important. It's kind of like the person in front of you can tell you wherever, or can be an AI that is not real, but then within your body, you know your guidance. You always have a compass inside, knowing what is the next step that you need to take. And sometimes that's the only thing we need, one more step towards building that. And then when we look back, we are like, wow, everything I have built. But it was one step at a time. And I think that's the Aries uh, initiation as well, that it gets impatient, but it's kind of like just go one step. What feels more alive for you today? Go there. Follow your bliss and your passion and what it feels expansive and life force energy. Where is your life force energy? Here. Okay, there. This drains you. No. And when we do more and more of that, we're building a life that is thriving because it's not full of obligations And wait, I think that is the thing that I want to say last to kind of like conclude, but is this idea that the Capricorn mystery school sometimes takes responsibilities that are not them to take and to carry. So, like most of people who have a strong Capricornian, I see it a lot with moons in Capricorn as myself. Like sometimes you are carrying weight that is not yours. It's like it's maybe your clients or your family or the people you love. And it's like they have their own Saturn, they have their own work to do. You don't have to do it for them. If you do it for them, you are taking away their chance to be responsible for their own lives. So if it's a child, of course, like you are raising a child, that's different, right? Like you need to be there holding. But if they are adults, they have their own Saturn already developed. So they need to take care of themselves, even when sometimes people don't do it. So it's like the less you carry the weight for others, the more they will have an opportunity to rise up to the occasion. And if we are doing everything for everyone, we are not allowing them to be responsible of their own lives. So that's something that is also very important to release weights during this month that are not yours to carry. So then you are lighter moving forward to a new year. And that's my final insights for this end of the year.
Mm, I love that. I want to just mention that Capricorn new moon, which is on January 18th at 28 degrees of Capricorn. Venus is conjunct Pluto. So Venus is at 1 degrees of Aquarius at that point. She's conjunct Pluto, who's at 3 Aquarius. And then also Vesta is right there at 3 degrees of Aquarius. Now, interestingly, when we started Capricorn season, Moon and Vesta were together there in Capricorn. And now at the new moon in Capricorn, we have Venus, Pluto, and Vesta all there in Aquarius, which is to me, it really feels like this master initiation around the transformation needed to be really truly connected to our sacred desire. And Aquarius, right? This is about that it is the higher wisdom that is Aquarius. Like there's all this, like Venus is, she's that one Aquarius, not zero Aquarius, but we've had like so much zero Aquarius activation over the last years where uh, Saturn Jupiter conjunction was at a zero Aquarius, I think in 2020. I think the solstice of winter solstice or Capricorn solstice of 2020. We had Venus and Mars start a cycle at zero Aquarius. We've had all this like there's all this kind of these cycles working with this zero Aquarius about this new paradigm kind of energy, and it feels like at that Capricorn new moon, there's this kind of reactivation around that energy, around like what needs to transform within. So we can really be devoted to what is that Aquarian dream? What is that Aquarian vision? Again, Aquarius, star card that we're grounding in. So for Capricorn season, like when you can rest and regenerate and really reflect on what is the wisest use of our energy. We have to pause and rest and reflect to have that awareness. We cannot get that awareness if we're going all of the time. If we think about before electricity, before like all of our modern conveniences, if we think about it, of course, like this northern hemisphere, not everywhere in the northern hemisphere has this kind of seasonal experience, but places where there's harsh winters, right? Like you would start to get in that harsh winter during Capricorn season, kind of being the initiation of winter. And it's like you really have to take stock. What are the resources that I have? And I have to use the resources that I have available to me really, really wisely. You have to conserve energy because the less energy we're expending, the farther those resources that we do have at this current point in time that we prepared over the last year, whether it's the fermenting the foods or canning or jarring the foods in some other way. like we have to make what we have at this current amount of time last and conserving our energy. There's more to go through that Capricorn season. So I think just remembering that kind of essence of Capricorn, slowing down and taking stock and reflecting and how to use the energy or what I have available for me wisely in this time, right, would get people through the winter. And then you start a new cycle and going, what you're growing and creating for the next year ahead. But to remember to have that sacred pause and that stillness and that going within and finding that reflection. Also, when we're still and go within, like when you get really quiet, really still, everything quiets, that's actually the time you can manifest miracles as well. When you can really connect in with the power of your spirit and connecting in with the spirit realm, calling on whatever, however you want to relate to that, your higher self, your guides, like your spirit animals. Like when we go into that stillness, right? Capricorn solstice, the veil is very thin. That's also when you can manifest miracles as well. And 2026 is a year, it's going to be a challenging year on the world stage, but it's also a year we can manifest miracles with that Saturn Neptune conjunction. So just want to leave it at that.
Yes, yes, 100%. And we just with that, it was very insightful for me to have like a little ritual for a long-term vision. It's like, what do you desire for the rest of your life? Kind of. We are seeing now
Yeah,
the
it's very
rest of the
Capricorn.
lives. Yeah. So it's like this the time. And sometimes it's like, if that is the vision, what do I have to say no to? And it's sacred to say no and not to feel guilty about it. It's kind of like this is a no and this is a yes. And then we can be more nourished to move forward, as you are saying. So it was such a pleasure to be together. And thank you, everyone, for listening to us, for connecting with the Astro Priestesses energy. And we are wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And we hope you have an amazing beginning of the year, that you take care of yourself and your energy so we can really create together the new earth.
And we have some exciting Astro Priestess surprises for 2026.
Yes, 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 we do. So I'm sure in the next video we will talk more about it. So just keep being tuned so then you don't miss the surprises coming up.